Here it was our last day, but our trip felt incomplete to me. I didn't think we found what we had come looking for, but that soon would change. From the first moment we arrived at the River Center that Wednesday, September 28, 2005, things were much different. A lot of people wanted to talk to us, and this time they wanted to talk to us badly.
It's hard to do now.
And then we met Mr. Robert Warner and Renault. They really wanted to talk to us, and I soon discovered Robert was the gentleman that historian Stanley and Corey had referred to as the mayor.
So it was turning into a cesspool. And then when you got heat, no running water, people crapping in the toilets, they can't flush them. Then the outhouses are backing up. They didn't send anybody over there to take, empty them, yeah.
When the two paramedics went over there to check him, they had medicine, but she said they couldn't give it to him because he wasn't critical enough and he wasn't a part of their community. That night, the guy passed away.
In his sleep. They were serving food. Kids were sitting around, eating around this man. He's dead. And I said, we need to get this guy out of here.
We were sleeping on the floor. My wife is a cancer patient. She slept on the floor outside on the hard concrete.
We said, look guys, what are you spending a special response team here for? What they can do. And they came with their guns drawn. And I said, dude, you might as well use them if you're going to draw them.
They were ready for a ride because the guys were scared. And I understand, but our emotions were high.
Yes.
I mean, we were really frustrated.
The mayor of Lake Charles told the president that we were lying about
the situation in Leesville
and Evans. Yes.
The way we were treated, it was like we were animals, really.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to be really frank here, but from what I understand, and I realize I'm paraphrasing in the highlights here. 2 weeks after Hurricane Katrina, with it, the same thing happened where there were people passing out of heat stroke.
Right.
Okay. A mother with 8 kids was forced to walk back from the hospital after passing out with heat stroke.
Right.
There was a man that died in front of his wife, from what I understand, with there that was refused medical care.
Right.
With it, children eating around a corpse.
Right.
With it, people defecating in their own clothes.
Right.
Not emptying garbage.
Right. All of that.
I would have lost my fucking mind.
Yeah. You and a lot of other people, and we were just about to do that.
Yes. And it wasn't until they realized, and I told them, I said, look guys, you know what? The only thing that we have left is our life. And the way things are going right now, we're not going to have that long if you keep us like this.
When you got nothing to lose.
The mayor of St. Charles, the same guy I saw on the TV, said this was a lie.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
He said this is a rumor. We're your rumor, Randy Roach. You're a damn lie.
At some point, it had all dawned on me. Stanley and Corey were telling us the same story yesterday, but they were talking about Hurricane Rita. After all that had happened less than a month before with Katrina, the same shit happened all over again. Hurricane Rita. 3 weeks later, out of the biggest disaster to hit our domestic soil. It dwarfs 9/11. It dwarfs the LA riots. It's staggering. 3 weeks later, we're hearing these whispers about Hurricane Rita. These two men, Robert and Renault, saved lives. After the hysteria of Katrina, we had an angry mob that was about ready to blow and scared cops with guns. That's an extremely dangerous situation. Without these guys' intervention, more people would have died.
I get off the bus and everybody that, for some reason, my exploits preceded me. So when I got there, people knew who I was when I got off the bus. Somehow the word got out that there was somebody in the group that was holding this whole motley crew together. And all I was trying to do was just try to keep it, keep some semblance of order there.
If somebody wants to recognize a hero, look here. Even with my admiration for Robert and Renault, I was still in a state of shock. This was clearly the responsibility of the Vernon Parish officials in the state of Louisiana. It happened again. With the whole world watching, it happened again. Children were playing around a corpse with feces on the floor again.
To me, the scariest part was when that man died, because I just woke up and all I heard was a bunch of hollering and crying and stuff.
So when I woke up pretty grouchy, like, oh, what's this? I looked to my left. and I see Charlie laying on the ground, and I don't know if Charlie just passed out, and then I'm just like, what's going on? And they like, Charlie's dead. So, I mean, I'm in shock. I'm in shock because they say Charlie had been dead since last night. They thought he was sleeping. So, I slept on side of the dead man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's like a memory that I never forget. That's a mental thing, you know what I'm saying, that I never forget. As I ran from disaster, I ran into disaster because I won't never forget waking up on side that dead man. You know what I'm saying?
And children, while the dead body was there, children were playing around it.
Oh yeah, it was right next to where we were sitting.
Not a blanket, not a thing. And there were law enforcement officers
They
around
finally
there.
did cover him with a sheet.
It took them 3 or 4 hours before they came get him.
Were they cognizant that somebody had died? Were they?
Mm-hmm. Charlie's dead body stayed on the floor about 3-4 hours before they took him out the gym. So they got everybody just in there. Even if his family didn't want his body to be exposed to where people look at that as amazing, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? The people didn't come pick his body up off the floor for 3-4 hours. I thought as soon as you find out somebody's dead, you take them out of the living eye. You know what I'm saying? He stayed on the floor for 3-4 hours before we could get some help to pick Charlie's body up.
No, that led to finally they were like, get us out of here before we lose another. Good. We want out before we lose another.
I needed direction, so I called my Hermosa police officer friend, and he said that on September 28, 2005, the LA Times, New Orleans Times-Picayune, and most national news outlets were reporting that the horror stories in the Superdome and at the convention center were greatly overblown. He gave me some very sound legal advice. Corroborate the story with at least 3 sources, 1 official, 1 actually there, and 1 outside the group. We had plenty of sources who were there. Let's see how overblown these stories were. But the weird thing about this is that all of a sudden a lot of people wanted to talk to us. A lot of people wanted to talk to us.
Terrible to say. We got it treated worse than animals would have got treated, really.
It got so bad people were pulling knives on people in showers. People were stealing from each other. People were knocking people out with sticks upside their head. It was bad.
We wasn't really giving them a hard time until people's health started getting in danger. You know what I'm saying? People started, passing out or whatever.
The first people we talked to was a girl named Darlene. Her brother-in-law, or her son-in-law rather, was the one that died inside the farmhouse or the county fair kind of thing they were keeping the Lake Charles evacuees in, and was the corpse that children played around. We had interviewed people that day right from where the Red Cross medical treatment was, and there were a lot of people on the periphery looking at us. And Darlene, she has to be in her 60s, was talking about her son, and she broke down. We started to get nervous. The Red Cross was taking interest in what we were doing. One of the Red Cross officials came out and asked us to leave Darlene alone, saying that she was not in any condition to do interviews. Darlene was in the midst of grief, and obviously I'm acutely aware of how that feels. I'm not blaming the Red Cross, but we didn't know what other government organizations were around the River Center. Just to be safe, we moved across the street and continued filming while I took our finished tapes back to the car.
We had Red Cross workers turn us away from 2 different sites, saying, well, we're not equipped to handle it.
Evans, it was bad, but Leesville got worse.
Well, where's everything you promised us? Where's our sanitation facilities? Where's our showers? Where's our water? Where's our food? You said this was all going to be here. Where is it?
They promised us stuff, and when we finally get there, it's a whole different story.
It was just like, we had nothing.
It's like they dropped us off like we was a piece of trash or something, like we was a dumpster.
People was passing out every 10 minutes. We was
We had people just dropping. The heat was so bad they were dropping.
Everyone were walking back and the ambulance going their direction and the deputy sheriff's passing them on the road going to the barn, didn't give them a ride.
It was hot, it was dark time, no lights in the streets, nothing. Cops and ambulances passing by us wouldn't give us a ride or anything back to the ferry grounds because that's where they was going, that's where we were going.
Finally, they said, you know, well, we don't have enough ambulances to be coming back and forth. You know, why don't you have a triage station set up? They said, well, yeah, why don't you set up one? And this went on and on and on to find people got tired enough so that there was a riot.
I guess we just like, dang, you know, we got to deal with this some kind of way.
You're in hell again. You're in hell again.
Do these people look like street thugs to you? And even if they were, don't we send ambulance for drunken drivers who cause horrible accidents? Don't we try to save the drug addicts that overdose? How many doctors in the emergency room try to save lives and not care about the rap sheet of their patients? Have we really become so cold as a society that we push away stories that upset us? Isn't the motto of our country, give us you're poor, you're tired, you're hungry, you're sick, and you're weak?
There would be. I'm out of money, and our flight leaves tomorrow, and I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi, and I really got to level with you. I don't want to be in Louisiana anymore.
How can anyone defend this story? After all that we had discovered on this day, I had a sick feeling and wanted to get the hell out of Louisiana. We didn't even stop to eat until we crossed the Mississippi state line. We thought about alerting the national news media, but were afraid the story would be squashed. This shameful saga from Leesville, Louisiana had to be told, and this film was the best way to tell it.
But the one thing that occurred to me is that not one person's asking us for money. They just want to tell their story, and they're eager to tell their story.
It's rather sobering actually being here, seeing it. And you see all this footage is on the news and all the things going on in New Orleans, but this was pretty much the crux of where Katrina had hit. And it's just, it's amazing.